What's happening, folks? Welcome back to Celtic Fans TV. Celtic 3, St Mirren 2. Celtic have lifted another league title. I've got Martin here with me to go over it. Martin, you went on Wednesday when we clinched it. Bit of a strange game today after those celebrations on Wednesday night, but again another 3 points, and the scenes in there are just a joy to behold, aren't they?
We've had 3 chances to celebrate. I think starting with the game last weekend, the pretty wild celebrations after that because it was as good as done, albeit played it down a little bit because there was still an outside chance that we could make a real royal mess of it, but it was reliant on 4 bizarre outcomes. So celebration last Saturday, huge celebration on Wednesday, just a pity it was a Wednesday, and then today just the icing on the cake for me. So what a wonderful week, 3 great performances. I mean, some of the fans, you go back a few months, had really chucked it and didn't believe in the Celtic team, and with some justification, but there's a famous Celtic saying, keep the faith, and for those that kept the faith, it was justified. For those that didn't, then I hope next season you'll be a little bit more optimistic. But a fantastic week. I mean, it had absolutely everything. Performance levels were exceptional, and I loved listening to the manager today and the captain just sort of epitomising how the fans and the players and the club all came together at a key stage of the season, and we really stepped up.
Absolutely. Do you think the fans have had maybe a wee bit of a lesson in patience this season, or do you think that's a bit too strong?
So I think try and think is this
included in that?
Is this unusual behaviour? Fans can be really fickle, and I don't just mean Celtic fans. I just mean in general, fans can overreact. I think about Joe Hart and the reception he got today. At times, fans have been really critical of Joe Hart, and I'm absolutely gutted he's leaving. Been a little bit critical even of O'Reilly at times, and he himself said he had a dip in form, but I really do wish that fans would be a little bit more patient. Sometimes we'll comment and we'll comment positively and we get shot down, and football's all about opinions, and there's not necessarily one person right and one person wrong, but I would like to see a lot more optimism and belief, because you can feel it translating on the pitch. If the fans are nervous and they're frustrated, then it just puts more pressure on the team. It's my biggest frustration, whereas if you continue to believe and you get behind the team, you see what happens.
Yeah, lots of changes to the team today. Do you think that's just with the cup final in mind? Obviously, I think there might have been a few sore heads after that night out on Wednesday as well. Just protecting the key players, and that did sort of lead to a disrupted rhythm, didn't it? St Mirren get a good start in the game, they went ahead. Once we equalised, they get the penalty, they go back ahead. I think in Trophy Day you either get like a 5-6-0 victory, or you get a really tight close game. There's never anything in between, isn't there?
And I think first and foremost to the sore heads, I mean, I was a wee bit kind of curious as to whether or not the players would get a little bit of leeway, because Wednesday going into the Saturday, albeit the Saturday not huge significance, but the fans want to see a victory today. When I watched back some of the videos, I seen Carter Vickers for example, and I felt really good. I really felt good, because it's another example of somebody who's not born and bred in Glasgow, not got a Celtic background, really bonding with the fans and loving life at Celtic. And you hear Joe Hart today, and I genuinely believe this is the best experience he's ever had in his whole career, and it means a lot to us as supporters that we've made him feel that way. And it's not just down to us, it's down to his peers and everything that comes with being part of Celtic. But I loved seeing some of the players out the other night and mingling with the fans and enjoying themselves. I think that's important. I think it was really important today that we didn't take too many risks, and I think the fact that we had sort of 50% of the first team versus 50% the main rest felt like probably just about the right balance. Yeah. Although it nearly worked against us, didn't it? The result nearly went against us. But you can see the rationale behind the players at his rested. Obviously Carter Vickers is key in defence. He's gone with the same midfield, but I think both McGregor and Hatate need a bit more time, and we want to see as much of O'Reilly as we can. We're all praying and hoping that he stays, and maybe he will stay a wee bit longer, but we're just loving watching him just now. And of course he's not taking too many risks on the wide area, so probably defensively, I think there was 3 rested, the wide areas there was 2, so it kind of felt like a 50-50 split today, didn't it? Yeah,
we've mentioned Joe Hart a couple of times already. Just a word on him specifically. I said in recent weeks numerous times, I'm so complimentary of his mentality, the way he's approached coming to Celtic, because often you see big names come up for England and they don't have that mindset, they don't approach it properly. You can criticise obviously at times his dips and forms like every football player has, but aside from his goalkeeping ability, his influence in this squad I think has been absolutely massive, and it's going to be as hard for us to replace that influence and that presence as it is goalkeeping ability.
I've had the opportunity during the last few weeks to hear from him at his night here. I was lucky enough to be at that, and then last weekend at the Play of the Year Awards again I was lucky enough to be there, and he is so adored and respected. It's incredible. As I say, I didn't realise how much, and when you hear his peers talking about him, he was invited on the stage on Sunday, and it wasn't part of the the script, the itinerary, and they invited him up, and you know, he could hardly speak because he was so overwhelmed by the club and the support that he's had, but he's earned it, and he's been a huge support to Cal McGregor in that changing room. You know, he's vice captain, and he's got a big voice, but equally had a huge amount of respect for captain and never undermined him. And you can see that there's a good rapport between those two, and he's very, very supportive of the players during the times where they need support. For the foreign players coming in, he's been one of the ones that's made them feel welcome, and that is critical, isn't it? You know, you look at players like Stan Petrov, again, got a chance to speak to him last week, and the difficult time he had when he came into Celtic all those years ago. People like Joe Hart are game changers for getting your Kyogos and players like that to hit the ground running, and we'll miss him massively. I mean, I remember him signing and thinking, I can't believe we've signed Joe Hart. And there wasn't really the furore I expected, because a lot of people again cynically said, well, it's the tail end of his career and we'll not get the best out of him. I still can't believe that Joe Hart played for Celtic. And I know we're a huge club, but he's a huge player with a great CV.
Yeah, absolutely. Brendan Rodgers has said a couple of times since we've got over the line about the awkward energy he felt in the first 6 months back at the club, the scrutiny the team came under through the difficult periods this season where we had slow performances, poor results. How do you assess Brendan Rodgers' first season back at the club, and do you think that now we can move forward and get rid of any of those cobwebs that were maybe there from his time before and really push on and get stronger next season?
Some of his comments at press conference post-match last week at the Play of the Year dinner, there's been some really underlying messages to the fans in there. You know, there's no grudge, right? There is absolutely no grudge, but he's still hurting by the way he was treated when he came back, and of course some of the fans feel hurt by the way that they think Rodgers treated the club when he left. I think that's now behind us when I hear him speak today. I think there's a line being drawn, but he was hurting. He wasn't accepting of the way he was treated, and I felt that time at Tynecastle when we got the victory. I think it was 4-3, and the fans reacted really well that day, albeit a small group of fans, wasn't it? Because reduced tickets. But I thought at that point we turned the corner. But it was a little bit of a roller coaster after that. So there's been a divide in the fans. There are some that will never forgive him. There are some that hadn't forgiven him at the time but have now. And then there was others that said, he's a cracking manager, brought up a Celtic fan, all that stuff helps, and we're prepared to give him a second chance from the outset. My personal view, I was delighted that he came back, and I think, although he wouldn't admit it, he's never apologised for leaving. I think he had huge regrets about leaving, and he got asked last week about how much he was enjoying his time back, and he said he was loving it, and asked about his record against Rangers, and he said, lots and lots of times over the years he was in the pub, he was in his own living room with friends and family who were supporting Celtic, so he can put himself in our shoes. And he said, he couldn't be prouder, not just of his record, but the record belongs to the players, not just him. And I think, next year he'll get much more support than he did this year.
Yeah, we usually finish in man of the match, but I suppose I'll finish in player of the year, because we'll have a chance to discuss that. It's a strange game today, pick a man of the match. Matt O'Reilly had a clean sweep almost at last weekend's Player of the Year awards. Is that who it was for you? Stand out?
He's such a good player. I mean, he's got everything, Paul, hasn't he? I mean, his goals, his assists.
Is that 19 goals and 18 assists, all competitions?
I mean, his goal today was spectacular, wasn't it? He's just got so much composure and calmness and great decision making, deft passes, long passes, short passes, decision making, work ethic. He's just got it all. I mean, he's one of the best players I've seen at Celtic Park in recent years. He really is up there, and I really hope and pray that he stays at least for the Champions League campaign next year. But for Player of the Year for me this year, absolutely no doubt. I know at the Player of the Year awards last week it was Joe Hart and O'Reilly that were shortlisted, and it was interesting listening to the players when they were nominating the Celtic players, because a lot of them said Joe Hart. But for me, it's O'Reilly every single day of the week, and he was excellent again today.
Yeah, what a player. There you go, that's it for full-time reaction today. Wherever you're going, the Merchant City, back to your supporters club, wherever you are, enjoy it, enjoy the night, drink in the celebrations. We'll see you next week for the build-up to that cup final at Hampden. Thank you.